In the last video, we talked about functional and structural testing. Unfortunately, functional testing has another complementary term, non-functional testing. Non-functional testing is very different from structural testing. It doesn't mean not testing or not working. The term functional testing has a somewhat different meaning depending on its context. You have to be a little careful with that term. Non-functional sounds like a non-term. But what does it really mean? It's best to look at things from a requirements perspective. Functional requirements are different from non-functional requirements, and so is the testing of each requirements type. Are you confused yet? Watch the video. I hope to explain in simple terms. Functional and non-functional testing is best looked at through the lens of requirements. Functional requirements, whether documented or otherwise, set out what the system must do for its users. Functional requirements usually detail the requirements for specific features and functions of the system. These details describe what features, in collaboration with other features, must do to meet overall business goals. The specific behaviour of features is usually described in terms of rules for dealing with identified data meeting certain criteria. The rules might be defined explicitly, or a user story might provide detailed examples of how the system behaves in selected situations or scenarios. However described, these features and their behaviour define what the system must do for its users. Non-functional system requirements are sometimes called technical requirements, which might actually be a better term. But we also have the term quality characteristics that is promoted in some IT standards. Quality characteristics is a collective term for the technical criteria a system must meet. Essentially, non-functional requirements or technical requirements or quality characteristics describe how a system delivers its functionality. Functional requirements say what the system does. Non-functional requirements say how the system delivers that functionality. It's easiest to give some examples. Technical requirements relate to such things as performance, usability, and security. System performance requirements mandate the acceptable levels of speed, responsiveness, and scalability. They might also define the resource utilization that a system must achieve under specified conditions to ensure reliable and efficient operation. Software usability requirements mandate that a system must be easy to learn, efficient to use, and provide a satisfying user experience for its intended users. System security requirements mandate the measures and controls necessary to protect a system. These precautions protect its data, functions and resources from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification or destruction. Now, there are numerous non-functional requirements types. Depending how you define them, there can be 20 or more. Some non-functional requirements, for example performance, are usually expressed as numeric targets. The behaviour of the system under load needs to be simulated. We'd use tools to simulate typical loads and take measurements of the system's performance characteristics. During such tests, we also need to measure the demand on system resources on host computers. These are typically CPU, memory and file system usage, network bandwidth, which are all limited. And the new system must not overburden the host computer system. Some non-functional requirements, for example usability, could be partly expressed as adherence to standards. These standards could be defined internally or be national or international standards. Other usability requirements might require a peer review of the user interface. Usability assessment often involves setting up surveys or focus groups to assess ease of learning and ease of use. Security requirements and the required testing cover a range of requirement types. Some requirements relating to mandated or prohibited configurations can be checked by tools. A second type of security requirement relates to the processes used to manage security operations. And thirdly, there might be security requirements that are actually functional requirements to be tested in the usual way. Overall, technical requirements when declared might be numeric or rather subjective or like regular functional requirements. Another characteristic of non-functional requirements is that they usually refer to a system as a whole. That is, these requirements cover the entirety of a system, and they often require a completely configured system to test. If you're a system tester, functional requirements, although never perfect, tend to be captured in good time. That is, before the system is built. Unfortunately, technical and non-functional requirements are often an afterthought. It's common for non-functional issues such as performance, poor usability, or security issues to arise in system or even user testing. As these risks are recognised, non-functional requirements and testing suddenly become a priority. Often, very late in projects, a rash of unplanned non-functional tests have to be created, executed and reported. Issues arising need to be acted upon very promptly. As you get involved in a new project, it's a good idea, even if you won't be responsible, to ask about non-functional requirements, their importance, readiness and plans for testing. Non-functional testing requires specialist skills. Again, performance, usability and security testing require their own unique experience and expertise, which is often in short supply. Some functional testers move into these disciplines in their careers as they might be more interesting, and they might also be better paid. Today, I have used performance, usability and security requirements as examples, but there are many other types of technical requirements that range from load and stress, interoperability, maintainability, reliability, portability, installation, documentation and backup and recovery. Each of these requirements types have their own different discipline when it comes to testing and assessment. Some final advice for you. Technical requirements are often an afterthought or based on unsafe or optimistic assumptions, or they're too high level, lacking detail. If you are asked to undertake some non-functional testing, start with a review of the testability of the requirements you are given. It may be there are no technical testers in your team, so it's likely you become responsible for requirements and perhaps the testing too. It can be a great opportunity to broaden your skills and gain valuable experience. If you want to know more about the concepts I'm talking about in the Glossary of Terms videos, it will probably help you if you take a look at the Leadership in Tests online class that I created a year or two ago. It covers some of the topics in more detail and obviously provides more of a structured approach to explanations of the concepts, and also gives you some idea of how to do some of the things that I talk about. I hope you can take a look at it and get value out of it. The link is below, bit.ly/leadintest.